Captain Vlog, starring on August 3rd, 2026. Hello, class, and welcome back to another episode premiere of Talkshow at Night. I am Catalina, your co-host, and Creation aka Lucario says, hello, class, and welcome to our big show of Talkshow at Night. I am Creation, your host. Tonight, we are going to be covering another topic as we speak. But this time, it's not about Connor Mintz this time, folks. It's not about him this time. This time, we're talking about a different matter tonight. So, for the following topic that we are going to be talking about tonight, we are going to be discussing about the disgusting Nickelodeon community. And what we found from the Nickelodeon community that we also found was very disturbing for us to witness. So, we're going to get to the real topic about the Nickelodeon group of why it was so bad to the point that me and Creation thought it was a good call to leave that group, because what Creation found for me was all true, and I was very scarred for it for like over a year because of it. So a big rundown before we get started with the topic that we're going to be discussing about. I was a big fan of the Nickelodeon group a year ago. For people that didn't know, I was a Nickelodeon geek. Where I was a big Nickelodeon fan from the time I was a big fan into a childhood favorite of mine called Danny Phantom, if I last recall. Danny Phantom was a Nickelodeon show that I first introduced because it was one of my old-time favorites, and I like to do a lot of, ideas from that show, and for people that didn't know, I used to voice collab with many people from that group for the Nickelodeon group back then, but not as much anymore because we went our separate ways. But yeah, so Danny Phantom was the first one that I got introduced. Then next came up Invader Zim. Invader Zim was another one that I was introduced because I was a big Zim fan. I was a big Invader Zim geek, so knowing him, I was a big fan. I was obsessed with the show. And then three, I would say for my old-time favorite was El Tigre. Because for people that didn't know, I was a big El Tigre fan. But not as much as I currently am as we speak. Because for people that didn't know, I used to be a big fan. But not as much as a big fan as I used to be. Because I've basically been cutting back from all those communities and being a big fan of them. Because it was just too much for me. So then, after that, me and another friend who will not be mentioned into this presentation decided to basically go our separate ways from that group. Because for people that didn't know, I was a part of a big group from that Nickelodeon group that we used to be friends with. But things didn't really work out because, let's just say something popped up and things didn't really work our way to where, yeah, it didn't work out. So, yeah, so there goes that. But I do have some points upon the Nickelodeon group that I also want to point out. Like, some people were still worshipping the disgusting Loud House group. For people that didn't know. The Loud House is also another topic that we're going to be covering as we speak along the way. Because, the Loud House is something that I'm not a big fan of, and I despise it to bits. And you're saying, like, why do you hate it for bits? Because, let's just say for somebody who will not be named or mentioned, because they shared me information upon this, did some disgusting artworks with some characters randomly with females, shipping the main creator with a lot of other characters, when clearly that's a red flag. Clearly, that's just kind of fucked up. Like, no, that's just not right. So, yeah. So with that being in mind, we're going to get started with this presentation that we have found from our special playlist that we've gathered. So, with that being said, I will get the screen share presented to you all. So give me just 1 second, and then we're going to get started with the big topic that we found. Because for the videos that we found that were very true, actually says it all here. So thanks to creation that he sent to me, we're going to present to you along the way and point out our feedbacks and our opinions along the way. So with that being said, yeah, enjoy the show.
You think you know Nickelodeon? That happy orange world that made your childhood bright? It was meant to be the safest place on TV, a channel made only for kids, free from the darkness of the adult world. But behind the bright colors and laughter, something else was hiding, something never meant to be seen. This is the story of how Nickelodeon rose from nothing to become a cultural empire, and how the same system that brought joy to millions would later be accused of breaking the very children who built it. In the late 1970s, television had almost nothing made just for children. Then a small team at Warner Amex decided to change that. They imagined a space where kids ruled the screen, colorful, creative, and kind. When the first signal aired in 1979, they called it Nickelodeon, after old theaters that once charged a nickel for entry. It felt playful and safe, and families quickly fell in love. Simple shows taught friendship, curiosity, and fun. Parents trusted it, kids adored it. By the mid-80s, the orange logo was everywhere, but as the laughter spread, something bigger, profit. Advertisers realized that kids could influence what their parents bought. The promise of no commercials quietly faded, replaced by toy ads and endless branding. What began as a dream of creativity was turning into a business built on attention. In 1984, Nickelodeon wanted to be cool, loud, and fast. That's when a young writer named Dan Schneider arrived. He had the confidence, the energy, and an instinct for what made kids laugh. Soon, his shows dominated the network. Executives gave him more time slots, more power, until he practically ran the place. To the world, Dan was a genius. Inside the studios, people whispered about how much power he held, but success made silence easy. Pressure was rising. Long filming hours, confusing contracts, and parents who rarely knew what was happening on set. The line between childhood fun and corporate profit began to blur. Hollywood was entering a new era. Kids were no longer just actors, they were brands. Every smile, every toy, every episode was money. Writers described constant deadlines and exhaustion hidden behind laughter. Some noticed strange jokes and uncomfortable scenes making it into scripts, moments that didn't belong on a children's show, but nobody wanted to slow down success. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Happy kids, catchy songs, bright slime. But inside, a few began to feel that the orange smile was covering something darker. Dan Schneider's power changed everything. His name was behind all that. The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, each one a global hit that shaped millions of childhoods. Inside the studio, he became untouchable. Producers praised him. Executives treated him like the face of Nickelodeon. But for the young actors working under him, that power felt heavy. Long hours, adult jokes, constant pressure, and a fear that speaking up could end a career. Parents trusted the network. They believed their kids were safe in the world of slime and laughter. But behind the cameras, the environment wasn't as innocent as it looked. Crew members described shouting, exhaustion, and humor that crossed lines no child should hear. By the early 2000s, Nickelodeon wasn't just a channel, it was a global machine. Toys, video games, theme parks, every character was a product. And at the heart of it all stood one man. The more successful he became, the more control he gained. His approval decided what the world's children would see next. But fame and money can hide the cracks. And soon, whispers began. Stories that would later shatter the illusion of the Orange Empire. The laughter on screen hid the silence behind it. And the channel that once promised safety for kids was now facing the ghosts of its own creation. Some actors quietly complained about jokes that didn't feel right, or scenes that made them uncomfortable. Still, the shows continued, and the laughter on screen covered the silence behind it. Dan remained in power through it all, creating hit after hit, while people inside started to notice unsettling patterns. Some scenes focused strangely on feet, some jokes felt inappropriate, and many storylines were pushed through without question. On iCarly, characters dipped their feet in food. On Victorious, teenagers acted out odd challenges. On The Amanda Show, Amanda Bynes sat in a hot tub surrounded by adults. At the time, audiences laughed, but years later, those same moments looked disturbing. Writers said Dan laughed the loudest when such jokes appeared. Editors noticed those scenes always made it through final cuts. Dozens of adults saw them and approved because the shows made money. Childhood innocence had become entertainment. As fans grew older, They started rewatching old episodes and noticing the same uncomfortable patterns. Clips spread across social media. Why did we think this was normal? People asked. And for the first time, silence started to break. Former actors began to speak. Some said they were forced into scenes that felt wrong. Nickelodeon denied the claims, saying moments were taken out of context. But the number of similar stories was too large to ignore. Then came Quiet on Set, the documentary that put everything together. Viewers heard decades of hidden pain through interviews with those who had lived it. The image of a happy, child-safe studio was replaced by stories of fear, control, and manipulation. For many, it felt like their childhood memories had been rewritten into something tragic. By 2019, pressure had become impossible to ignore. The network cut ties with Dan Schneider, but called it a creative break. He was paid millions to leave quietly. No lawsuits, no police. In later interviews, Dan said everything back then was innocent fun. But innocent fun doesn't leave people traumatized. Jeanette McCurdy wrote that she stopped eating and hated herself for years. Amanda Bynes suffered mental health struggles that the media mocked. Drake Bell said he still has nightmares. The same network that once shouted "Kids Rule" never listened when those kids tried to speak. Nickelodeon never apologized. It moved on, rebranding itself, hoping people would forget. As the truth reached more viewers, the story spread far beyond one network. Parents began to question how Hollywood treats young performers. Studios were forced to create new rules. Welfare officers, psychologists, shorter working hours, and clear systems for reporting abuse. The Nickelodeon story proved that creativity without protection is a recipe for harm. Some former stars turned their pain into purpose. Jeanette's book inspired honesty among others, who had kept quiet for years. Movements formed demanding stronger safety laws for minors in media. Change was slow, but it had begun. Dan tried to return later with new projects, but audiences were not the same. His name became linked to everything people no longer wanted in entertainment. Nickelodeon tried to rebuild its image with reboots and new shows, but the orange logo no longer carried the same innocence. The story of Nickelodeon became a mirror for the entire industry. It showed how money can silence conscience, how fame can hide suffering, and how protecting a brand can destroy lives. Today, many who once worked there have begun to heal. Some became advocates helping new generations avoid the same mistakes. Others quietly built new lives away from the camera, and audiences learned something too, that behind every smile on screen, there is a story we might not see. So when you hear the old theme songs or see that orange splash again, remember what it cost. The past cannot be changed, but the lessons can protect the future, because entertainment should bring joy, not scars. Maybe if we truly listen to those who were hurt, the next generation of children will grow up in a world where fun is just fun, not a mask hiding something darker.
Wow. Okay. Holy shit. Now, just for after watching that, yeah, now I'm having skeptical issues with this community to begin with, from here on out. Okay. Wow, creation. Whatever you sent me, yeah, this sure hit me rock hard. My god. I don't know what to say at this point, but shit. This got bad. And I felt so bad for Drake Bell, mostly from Drake and Josh, because for people that don't know, my fiance is a big Drake and Josh, I wouldn't say fan, but he likes the show because it's funny. But yet again, wow. I was not really expecting that, but wow. Oh goodness. So yeah, I will keep that noted. Wowzers. Okay, so then we had another topic from that we found is very alarming, so we will continue that. So here is the next one for you, so here we go.
Booking.
Don't let me hear the ad, please.
After 1980, chances are your childhood involved getting home from school and flicking on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon produced some of the biggest child stars and kids shows of the last 4.5 decades. Considering millions of kids watch Nickelodeon and 90% of their stars are children, you'd expect Nickelodeon to be a safe place for kids. But unfortunately, the exact opposite is true. While Nickelodeon and their most powerful producer Dan Schneider have been discussed here on YouTube for years, these stories are now being explored in the mainstream media via a new documentary, Quiet on Set. Quiet on Set focuses on Schneider's shows and 3 monsters that worked on his sets. But these Nickelodeon monsters, Brian Peck, Jason Handy, and Aziel Channel, are just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more to this story and many more dangerous people involved. So today we're going to be discussing the history of Dan Schneider at Nickelodeon, the individuals who both brought Schneider in and not only continue to employ him, but those that handed him more power, influence, money, young stars, women to exploit, and more people to hurt. We'll of course cover the 3 aforementioned Nickelodeon monsters working on Schneider's sets, but we'll also explore the monsters that haven't been discussed yet. Then later, we'll go over how these Nickelodeon criminals connect to a much larger problem that has seeped into the very architecture of Hollywood and spent the last several decades spreading throughout some of the most recognizable TV shows, movies, and famous faces around the world. Because these vultures are very well connected, with one even being dubbed the Forrest Gump of Hollywood. As you'll see later in the video, these predators use their powerful friends to get hired on productions despite their record, to silence publications trying to expose them, to blackmail their young victims, and much, much more. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, and let's dive in to the long-awaited downfall of Dan Schneider and the Nickelodeon machine. Nickelodeon was founded by Vivian Horner on December 1st, 1977, but it didn't launch until 16 months later on April 1st, 1979. Statistics released in September 2018 revealed that Nickelodeon is available to about 87 million households in the US alone, but the channel exists in many other countries around the world. When Nickelodeon launched, it marketed itself as the first cable channel for children, and it was initially completely commercial-free and remained without advertising for 5 years. In the fall of 1985, Nickelodeon went through an image change and a programming shift. These changes ultimately resulted in Nickelodeon, along with its sister networks MTV and VH1, all being sold to Viacom in the same year. In the beginning, Nickelodeon mainly focused on educational programming and later added a variety of cartoons, game shows, and kid shows in the mid-80s through to the early 90s. In the early 90s, they started developing their own original programming with shows like Rugrats, Doug, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, and Clarissa Explains It All. By the mid-90s, Nickelodeon was doing well and developing even more successful shows like Rocko's Modern Life, The Secret World of Alex Mack, and All That. All That ran from 1994 to 2005 and was extremely successful for Nickelodeon, garnering acclaim for its impact on kids' television and its diverse cast. The head writer of All That, who also served as an executive producer from season 4 onwards, took several of the cast members from All That and developed spin-offs, giving the cast members their own shows. There were a total of 7 shows that originated from All That. The first spin-off came out in October 1995 and was called Action League Now. The following year, in 1996, there was both Kenan and Kel and Kablam that debuted. And in 1999, one of All That's biggest stars, Amanda Bynes, was given her own show titled The Amanda Show. A few seasons later, Amanda's co-stars on The Amanda Show, Drake Bell and Josh Peck, were given their own show, Drake and Josh. A co-star from Drake and Josh, Miranda Cosgrove, was then given her own show, iCarly. And iCarly is arguably the height of Nickelodeon's success. The head writer from All That, the controversial Dan Schneider, created all 3 of these shows and went on to create many other shows for Nickelodeon: Victorious, Sam and Cat, Henry Danger, Game Changers, Ned's Declassified, and more. Schneider and his production company, Schneider's Bakery, seemed to be untouchable. He was Nickelodeon's golden boy, creating hit after hit for the network work that kids were obsessed with. The media dubbed Schneider the king of children's television, and his shows made him an empire and extremely rich. Nickelodeon were so delighted with Schneider that he was given the first ever and the only ever Lifetime Achievement Award at the Kids' Choice Awards in 2014. To accept the award, Schneider was introduced by a group made up of cast members from his most successful shows that still had ties at Nickelodeon. The cast members thanked Schneider for their careers and success, and Schneider walked on stage to thunderous applause. Kids all around the world celebrated the man who created so many of their favorite shows, stars, and some of their favorite childhood memories from coming home from school and turning on your favorite Nickelodeon show. But while this moment of Dan Schneider accepting the award was the peak and pinnacle of his career, a few seconds later, as everyone is applauding Schneider, the camera pans across the stage on all of the cast members, and in that moment, Schneider's downfall began. This was the moment where a few people noticed something quite odd. Two of Dan's biggest stars with deep Nickelodeon ties were missing. Jeanette McCurdy and Miranda Cosgrove were not on stage. Both Jeanette and Miranda were not only two of the stars of his most successful show, iCarly, but they both were on multiple Schneider shows, and Jeanette was currently the lead of his show, Sam and Cat. A few people chalked this up to a scheduling or some other small, insignificant issue, but a few people thought there could be something bigger here and began looking back at Schneider's career and Nickelodeon as a whole. What they found and began talking about online was extremely strange, disturbing, and unsettling content across Schneider's 20 years at Nickelodeon. People kept digging and made some truly disturbing revelations. Allegations of creepy behavior, horrendous work environments, bullying child actors, rampant sexism, manipulation, abuse, unsettling accusations of sexual young children, rage-filled explosions, and multiple predators behind the scenes that were preying on young child actors.
Oh, jeez. Isn't that a coincidence? Another reason why I despise this community for good this time. But seriously, no, come on. Yeah, Dan Schneider has already fucked up his own warrant on many things on these kids, including Drake Bell, most entirely. Yeah, because for somebody who wants to get money out of that, are you shitting me, dude? Wow, like, how could you? Like, seriously, how could you? And I'm sorry if I'm sounding like El Tigre. I'm sorry. Speaking through El Tigre, what the heck, man? What the heck? Because now talking about the Nickelodeon group, yeah, okay, now I'm speaking like El Tigre now, so nice going, dude. Nice going. Oh, you just noticed that, Creation. I was here all the time, too, you know? Creation just said, I didn't expect you to pull off El Tigre, so that's a first. Well, remember, sorry, off character. Remember, Creation, I've been voicing El Tigre for all I know. But just hearing all this, oh yeah, there's something with El Tigre that we're going to involve at the very end, too, so keep in mind, so we'll get there eventually, so we'll get there at the end of the point, so do keep in mind.
But Schneider and the convicted predator of Nickelodeon are only just the beginning.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on, let me just read this. Topics discussed in the remainder of the video are elite unless a conviction is specified. The information in this video is a result of research, quotes, stories, and allegations from the testimony of individuals, media, articles, and investigations are listed in the video sources. Clips and individuals presented do not adequate to endorse of that individual. Some words and phrases have been particularly silenced and or beeped to confirm with YouTube's policy concerning topics of a sensitive nature. Viewer discussion is advised for the remainder of the video due to sensitive topics discussed throughout the remaining runtime. Excuse me, I almost burped for that minute. Sorry. Just trying to get something to me, so sorry about that. But okay, so let's see what we got into this. So, this ought to be fun. And of course, you get to the ad. Okay, sorry. Let's just get that fixed. Give me a minute. Sorry. Some ads will pop up, so I apologize. Sorry, skip.
Dan Schneider was born on January 14th, 1966 in Memphis, Tennessee. He has 3 sisters and he grew up interested in theater and did theater at his high school. He did get into and attend Harvard University for 1 semester, according to him, although I haven't seen any concrete evidence that proves that he did go there. He did drop out after 1 semester and decided to take a chance on his dream. He then moved from the East Coast to the West Coast and tried his hand at becoming a star in Los Angeles, California. Schneider had a few roles in mainly teen comedies such as Better Off Dead, Hot Resort, Happy Together, Listen to Me, but in 1986 he was cast in an ABC TV sitcom, Head of the Class, playing a character named Dennis Blunden. Head of the Class is the reason that Schneider got a connection at Nickelodeon. He was on the show for all 5 seasons that it ran. It ended in 1991, but in 1988, Schneider and one of his co-stars were asked to host the first ever Kids' Choice Awards for Nickelodeon. You may know that name as Robbins is currently head of Paramount Pictures and the former president of Nickelodeon. When Schneider and Robbins agreed to host the Kids' Choice Awards, they hadn't even heard of Nickelodeon, but decided to say yes anyway. After meeting Hesh at the award shows, they then developed a friendship and continued to stay in contact after the award show. It wasn't long before Hesh offered Schneider and Robbins a development deal at Nickelodeon, but due to the fact that they were under...
Hold on. Oh no! Oh no, they do! Well, look what the cat dragged in, folks. El Tigre's mentioned, and Danny Phantom. Oh, great. Oh, and Zim too. Oh, great. Fucking great. Jeez. Great, so now this makes me more pissed off. Great. There go 3 of my favorite shows, then. Great. What a coincidence. Oh, yeah, the only bad part is, too, Frida's involved. Oh, one of my friends is not going to like this. Oh, great. Yep, there you go. There's that. Here we go again, folks. Yeah, by the way, this is El Tigre speaking, so I'm not too well impressed with this. I'm not. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it gets more worse. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Boy.
Contract still with ABC and Head of the Class, they turned Nickelodeon down and just went back to work at Head of the Class. When Head of the Class ended in 1991, Robbins partnered up with one of his friends, Mike Tollin, and they ended up making a production company together that was just named after both of them. By this stage, Hesh was head of development at Nickelodeon, and he went to Robbins and Tollin and asked them if they wanted to do anything with Nickelodeon, and the first thing that he offered them was to do a taping of a show. The show that they produced was a half-an-hour production that was supposed to be them touring comedy shows around the US, and this was supposed to take place over 2 weeks, and they're supposed to go to all these cities, but in reality, they filmed this over 2 days and just manipulated a lot of the footage. Despite the fabrication, Hesh was pleased and he asked them if they had any ideas to pitch to Nickelodeon. Robbins pitched Hesh the idea of SNL but for kids. Nickelodeon loved the idea and put the pilot for All That into development. They then decided the perfect person to fill the head writer spot on All That was their friend from Head of the Class, Dan Schneider.
Ugh.
Even before all that was on the air, they were changing how things were done with kids' TV. In case you don't know, usually when a new show is being pitched and they're making a pilot, they will write the script, revise it, do the new versions, and then they will cast the show, film it. It gets looked at and they decide whether to greenlight it or not. But with all that, they decided to actually cast the show and then write it based on the strengths of the child actors. You can see this tradition continue throughout Schneider's shows, as he usually will take one of his stars from a previous show and then build the show around them. It's also why you get a lot of his characters that have the same first name as the actors that are playing those characters. For months, they looked all around the country to cast the show, and they ended up picking Angelique Bates, Lori Beth Denberg, Katarina Johnson, Kel Mitchell, Elisa Reyes, Josh Sherver, and Keenan Thompson. They ended up shooting the pilot at Nickelodeon Studios in Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and the pilot was actually shelved after they shot it because it got such poor ratings from the testing audience that watched it. Despite the fact the testing was poor and focus groups didn't connect with the show, the then president of Nickelodeon, Geraldine Laybourne, stepped in and decided to pick the show up regardless. The show performed very well, and after the second season, they were still filming at Nickelodeon Studios in Universal Orlando, Florida. They then decided that they were going to move to the West Coast. The third season, they went in at Paramount Pictures. This was while Nickelodeon on Sunset, the new studio, was being built. And they went into that studio, and then all that, the remaining seasons, and all the other Schneider shows ended up being shot at Nickelodeon on Sunset. Prior to moving to Nickelodeon on Sunset, Angelica Bates left the show and a new cast member joined. This cast member was very young in comparison, but was discovered at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club where she was doing stand-up despite her very young age. Schneider and other Nickelodeon producers happened to see her at the comedy club and knew immediately that the girl was very talented and had the potential to become.
Peter Piper used the smart buying tools from Amazon Business and positively prospered.
Of course you had to do that. Okay, sorry about the ads. Scuff strain, folks. Sorry. I hate when they do that. Obviously, it's really dumb that you had to ruin the stuff. Okay, quit it. Seriously, quit it.
Become a star. So in 1996, Amanda Bynes joined the cast of All That. For the next decade, Amanda Bynes would work with Schneider on many TV shows, but also other projects like the 2002 movie Big Fat Liar. Amanda was on All That from 1996 to 1999, and in 1999, she was given her own show, The Amanda Show. The Amanda Show was the very first time that Dan Schneider was listed as a creator, and this was the very first time that he truly got the power that came with being a showrunner. A key thing to mention here is when the Amanda Show started, they were still at Paramount Pictures, which, if you've never been on one of these lots, there are hundreds of productions going on and thousands and thousands and thousands of people around and seeing what's happening and observing each other. There's so many productions that are happening. I mean, even just my last video, Glee, they filmed at Paramount Pictures. My other channel where I used to talk about the L Word Generation Q, they filmed the first season at Paramount Pictures. So you can't really get away with as much because there's so many other people around. Whereas when they moved to Nickelodeon on Sunset, Dan Schneider was in charge of everyone that was in there. So only when the Nickelodeon executives came, and I can't imagine people that are being bullied and manipulated by Dan Schneider are then going to go to Nickelodeon executives that are only coming in to, watch the episode through or something. Dan Schneider had all this power and control because he was the person in charge, basically, of Nickelodeon on Sunset and had no one to answer to or even to see what he was doing. And of course, they moved into Nickelodeon on Sunset in around about 2000. So for 15 years, his behavior just escalated because he had no one watching him or even observing what he was doing. Just to add, this is kind of obvious, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Given what we've learned in this video so far about how interconnected and interwoven Dan Schneider and all these Nickelodeon executives and development heads were all friends together too, as well as working together. It's not just that he was this like amazing producer, show creator, knew what kids wanted to watch. It's also the fact that all these people are friends and do each other favors, and all of the people that brought him in and kept him there despite knowing what he was doing, how he was treating people, because hello, the internet was talking about it. Of course, people on set knew about it. They also all played a part in what happened to all of these people. He was just getting more power, more money, more control, more people under him, and just continued to rule this studio and do whatever he wanted that was facilitated by Nickelodeon, and them just basically being like, that's the golden boy, keep giving him money and letting him do whatever he wants because it means we get even more money.
Yeah, wow. That's what I was worried about. Yeesh. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay, well, there's really not much for this here, so it's not really much relevant. So anyway, we're gonna continue on for the next one. So next up, we are going to if I can find it, we can find the right one. So we already did that. So then we're gonna get to I think it was this one if I'm right. We'll get to the next one. So we're gonna get to the next one as we speak. So do keep that in mind. So we're gonna keep on forward and get there. So just keep in mind. All right.
Is known at Nickelodeon as an absolute creep, and he has been exposed for his inappropriate relationships with young girls, messaging them through AOL and promising them a career in animation if they do what he says. So let's get into it. So let's talk about John Kricfalusi, also known as John K. He is a Canadian illustrator, blogger, voice actor, and former animator. He's best known for creating the television series The Ren and Stimpy Show. And he's an interesting guy.
We have Jimmy the idiot boy. Here he is. By the way, Jimmy dies at the end of every single cartoon. But he always comes back because he's a cartoon character. Here at Funko, we're going to do cartoons for men. And here, the head of our manly cartoon department is Stacy. Our biggest inspirations for manly cartoons, there's two of them actually, are Kirk Douglas. There he is. He's the most manly actor that ever lived. There he is. And the other inspiration is my dad. And that's him. And he's the most manly dad. And he was kind of mad that he had a wimpy cartoonist for a kid. So, to make him happy, we're going to make some manly cartoons for him.
Now let's talk a little bit about John K's show, The Ren and Stimpy Show. It features the characters Ren and Stimpy. Ren is an emotionally unstable and sociopathic chihuahua, and Stimpy is a good-natured yet dim-witted cat. Supposedly, the show was so vulgar that certain companies and networks didn't want to work with them, but Nickelodeon had an open mind.
Talk about you went a little too far with the show base there. I get it, there's somebody in my group who is also a Ren and Stimpy fan, so please keep in mind, please don't attack these people that we call out, okay? We used to have a friend who will not be named, who is also a Stimpy fan, but he still, too, is a big, Ren and Stimpy geek. But I'm not getting mad with this guy about that, but that's his choice. So if he wants to be a big fan of that show, of the character himself, I'd say good for him. But as long as he doesn't do anything bad with Stimpy or anything like that in particular, okay, good by me. But I'm not saying I'm getting mad for him for that. Like, no, I'm just saying, like, okay, well, good for you then. Like, it's something that I'll have to point out that, you know, I just want to make sure people is on their best good behavior, because, knowing me, just want to make sure the community's in good hands. So, but yeah, I think Ren and Stimpy, the adult cartoon, was a little bit too much because I personally seen it, and what the actual fuck did I fucking witness? One of the episodes that caught my interest that I find quite disturbing was when Ren was seeking help about his childhood and stuff. Then, I don't know how to say this any further, but I'll just say it got pretty blood flag material instantly. So, oh boy, not good. So yeah.
We're alive! Alive! I tell you, alive! I took it everywhere. I took it to NBC, ABC, Fox, you name it. Every network in the world, and they all turned it down and said it was too weird, too disgusting. Don't ever come back. So finally we took it to Nickelodeon, and they said, well, it's too disgusting, but we kind of like some disgusting stuff, and they went for it.
There seems to be a theme when it comes to Nickelodeon. I mean, trust me, I think Disney is just as bad, but they're way better at covering up their tracks. Nickelodeon just hires these pervs, just knowing that they are so. And here's a little clip of Ren and Stimpy if you haven't seen the show before.
Gosh, Ren, isn't this beautiful? Huh? Hey, you know what would be fun? Let's go skinny dipping. What? Are you crazy?
The show.
That's what I was gonna. That's what I was actually gonna say. As a matter of fact, what the? Oh no! How did I forget that? How did I almost forget that? No! No! Oh, motherfucker! Shit, I did not expect that! No, I did not expect that! No! I know, Creation, I'm dying. Creation just said, I think my co-host is dying over here. Don't mind her, folks. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm dying because that took me by surprise. What the fuck was that for? Okay. Yeah, no, come on. Don't do something like that when it comes to a kid's show. No, come on. That's a little too much, buddy. You don't want to do that. Okay, yeah. Just don't go that route because you know that's gonna make you look bad. Okay. Jeez. But okay, I did not expect to take that by surprise, but okay. Nice going. Okay.
Show definitely had some gross moments, but John K was way worse. So let's talk a little bit about his past behavior. An investigation done by BuzzFeed went behind the scenes and spoke to some of John K's victims. They say that John made his fixation on teen girls obvious in his art. For the projects he worked on for the Cartoon Network, for Fox Kids, and Adult Swim, Howard Stern supposedly asked him about a character he was promoting. He called Soda Pop a hot chick with big boobs and nice legs. And John responded with a smile and said, she's underage too, which is so disgusting because he's depicting teenage girls in such a gross manner. And even
wow. Okay. Are you fucking kidding me? So you just had to say for the last part, she's underage too. Okay, that makes it worse. Dude, come on. Yep, that says it right here, folks. That says it right there. Oh, yeah, you can get mad all you want, Creation. Yeah, when you heard that, I bet that pissed you off too. Okay, good to know. Okay, yeah, he's pissed. Okay.
Though John is a gross guy, he's still being celebrated in Hollywood. A lot of people credit him as the inspiration for SpongeBob SquarePants and Adventure Time and Rick and Morty. It looks like in 2014, he worked for Miley Cyrus and her Bangers tour. He's also been credited with a few sequences on The Simpsons.
Oh, The Simpsons. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. So that's no wonder why one of the animations was so familiar when I saw the Treehouse of Horror one. Okay. Yeah, no, I can see why. Okay.
He's also got a portrait hung up at Nickelodeon. He's got all of that even after these allegations. Today in this video, we're going to be speaking about two of John's victims who have come forward in the past. And I think it's important to talk about these stories and to support these survivors because it will support other people in coming out against some of these gross people who use their power in Hollywood to take advantage of others, which is never okay. And there's certain words I wish I could use, but you know, YouTube's rules.
Well, yeah, because YouTube likes to be a poopy butt about it, so I can't really blame this guy here, really. Obviously. He's not wrong, so who's to say he's not really fibbing out of his ways? So, okay, yeah, good to point that out.
Start off by talking about Robin Bird. So Robin claims back in 1994 she was 13 years old and she had sent John K a video of herself talking about her drawings and these animated characters. John actually responded to her letter and she thought this was the first step in becoming someone who would create these type of shows. At that point, they became friendly, which is concerning because he's 39 years old. He's sending her boxes of toys and art supplies. Like, where the hell were her parents at this point? At one point, he visited her at the trailer park where she lived in Arizona. When she was in 11th grade, he flew her to LA to show her his studio and to talk about her future. On that trip, in a room with a sliding glass door that led to his pool, he touched her private area through her pajamas as she laid frozen on a blanket he placed on the floor. She was 16 at this point.
Oh, shit, dude. Are you shitting me? Oh, no. Come on. That makes it worse. Dude, are you stupid in the head? Oh, my God. Okay, nope. Okay, this got more disgusting. Oh, my God. At least they that censored that thing. Okay, good, because I did not want to get age restricted on this thing. No, we're not doing that. Shit. Oh, geez. Okay, Creation even said, okay, that took my mind off things, so that is something I'm not gonna remember again. Yeah, you and me both, Creation. Yeah, well, this got bad. Well then. Lesson learned. That's a lesson learned then. Okay. Wow.
So it's clear this man was using his position of power in the industry to communicate with a young 13-year-old girl and ultimately manipulate her into some type of sick relationship with him. And that relationship further developed. In the summer of 1997, before her senior year in high school, he flew her to LA again when she had an internship at his production company. She lived with him as his 16-year-old girlfriend and intern. She ultimately moved into his home permanently at the age of 17, and he was supposedly helping her with her career. That was the purpose of it all. While living in her home as his intern, she was making copies, keeping art organized, learning how to become an animator. She felt like she made her dream come true.
Wow. Okay. So that's how it comes to be. Oh, okay. But still, I think that was a wrong move. I'd say that for sure. That's a wrong move. Knowing them, sheesh. Are you kidding me? I don't think so. Not the long shot, nope.
He also convinced her that their 25-year age difference was romantic, that she was a 16-year-old, and that they were breaking the rules of society by being together. Here's a picture of the couple together, and this was Christmas Eve. And look at them together, hanging out and drinking in their home. I can't even imagine like the mindset that she had, because at this point, like being manipulated by a man this old at such a young age, at the age of 13, and you believe that he has your dreams in the palm of his hand. That power like imbalance is unreal. At some point, their relationship came to an end, and it wasn't pretty. She left him in the year 2002, and after she left, he decided to shift his attention to someone new. Then in 2008, Robin Bird decided to reach out to an old friend, Katie Rice, someone else who had also been taken advantage of by John. John actually introduced Katie and Robin back in the day in the mid-90s through AOL and promised that they would both be hired at his production company someday. John supposedly never got physical with Katie, but he began hitting on her when she was a minor, sending her flirty letters and then talking to her about self-pleasure. At one point, Katie did work for John, and once she did, he started harassing her. Here's a photo of Katie Rice, and let's talk a little bit about her experience. Ever since she was in the 4th grade, she wanted to be an artist. And then once she was a tween, she wanted to be a cartoonist. She already knew that she was meant for this industry. So Katie actually reached out to John when she was about 14 years old, and they started speaking over AOL, which I feel like AOL is such a, like, I don't know, probably a lot of horrible things went down on AOL.
I'll do major research on that, probably after the show, and see what that is, so I'll do research. Okay.
There's actually a video of Katie and John K. It's a super viral video that we're going to watch together before we go through the rest of Katie's story.
Hi. Hey, this is Katie Rice. She is one of the young artists I was telling you about who sought me out because she grew up watching Ren and Stimpy, right? Mm-hmm. So,
okay, just to give you guys some background, you're going to see how uncomfortable she is throughout this video. And John just goes back and forth with, like, being weird and just, you'll see.
Ren and Stimpy has a lot of specialists on it. Like, we have people who draw manly, we have people who draw sensitive, we have people who draw sexy girls. Katie is the princess of sexy girl artists. I got to tell you a little history because all through the 80s, when I was working at Hanna-Barbera and Filmation and all these studios, I always wanted to draw sexy girls into the cartoons. But since the networks were all run by dykes, they wouldn't let you because they thought it was offensive to women to draw girls cute, like Katie here. So it frustrated me and all the other artists that like to draw sexy girls. So when Ren and Stimpy came along, I managed to get a couple of scenes, like in Powdered Toast Man. What's the name of the girl, the lovely assistant in Powdered Toast Man? Mm-hmm. Now,
see how comfortable he is, like, talking about this stuff, like, right on camera and just being so weird? He's way too comfortable.
Katie used to watch these cartoons, and didn't that crap inspire you or something?
Yes, I love the girls. I like those Lynn Naylor girls too, and Stimpy's Big Day.
Yeah, those are great. And I think Katie showed me one time. She drew. I was at her 15th birthday party. We'll tell you that backstory a little bit later. And
I was literally going to say that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So shoot, he knows where.
She showed me her sketchbook, and one of the drawings in it was a copy of the drawing I did of my character Sody Pop. You still have that drawing?
Yes, it's not very good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, she is now, as far as I know, the best artist in the business at doing sexy girls. And she has a website called
Funny Cute.
funnycute.com.
.blogspot.com.
There you go. Funny Cute. Look up Katie Rice at Funny Cute. And anyways, so the new Ren and Stimpy's come along, and Spike TV asked me, John, you got to do something that adults like. Like when we made the original Ren and Stimpy, I did things that kids like boogers and farts. What did adults like? They like naked. So we did a cartoon called Naked Beach Frenzy. Now, it wasn't originally called that. And the idea for the cartoon came from Carolyn J. Alvarez, who was another Ren and Stimpy fan. And she mailed me a letter saying, hey, John, why don't you make a cartoon where Ren and Stimpy go to the beach and Stimpy thinks that they're there to get exercise and fresh air and sunshine and all this good stuff. But it turns out that Ren is there because he just wants to look at all the hot running around.
Well, yeah, and give it a little bit of a another rundown for that episode. Let's just say he wants to get turned on with bitches. As for what I remember. The reason how I know that, because I've seen the episode, it's dark, and oh my god, it was not kid-friendly. I'll tell you that, it's not. So, yes, I can actually see where this is going. Yeah, trust me, I've seen the adult cartoons, I've seen it. Oh, gee, it was like a big rabbit hole for me. So, my God, I just want to bury it 6 feet under, burn it.
Thongs and stuff. So I recruited Katie to be the lead artist on the cartoon. She designed all the sexy girls. We had this one scene where Ren and Stimpy are bathroom attendants in the shower room, the girls' shower room on the beach. So Katie was drawing all the shower scenes, and we had a problem. What was the problem? Remember?
No.
Okay, it was, how do you draw girls in the shower naked and not show the good parts? So Katie drew the good parts. And I was all nervous. I kept thinking, oh, I'd call her up. I was in Canada and she was here in LA. And I'd call her up and say, Katie, you got to, like, you know, put hands in front of them or hair or soap suds or something. Otherwise, we're all going to get fired.
Well, we started, actually, it was a little different than that. I drew them all sort of Fantasia style with, you know, they had the boobs, but there's no nipples on them. And then I remember, like, right before we turned the cartoon in, we were trying to come up with ways to hide them, whether it be foam or hands or whatever. And I remember asking John, like, John, what are we going to do? They don't have nipples and there's nothing covering it. What do we do? He said, just draw nipples on them. So I went through all the scenes really quick and just did little nipples on every girl.
How that happened was I called up Kevin Kay at Spike TV and I told him the problem. I said, how do we do a shower scene without showing the nipples? After a while, you know, it's going to get repetitive to just keep trying to hide it. So he said, you know what? We're a man's network. Draw the goddamn nipples. So we did. Katie did. And all the guys that had to follow up on her scenes spent a lot of time in the bathroom, let me tell you. So we did exactly what they told us to do, and then they never aired it. So, and we got fired.
We blamed Janet Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. It was Janet Jackson's fault.
Write her a nasty letter.
Our show appeared at Spike TV ready to air, and then Janet and Justin did us in. But anyways, you don't care anymore because you've got this filth right in front of you. Naked Beach Frenzy. Here it comes.
A bunch of these comments also agree with us that I'm assuming that we all agreed that that was pretty weird and that her body language is off. He like, it wasn't weird the entire time, but he would like make these little points and use certain words that are almost like designed to evoke emotion. Someone said, just when you think he's acting normal, he goes right back to being weird. Someone else wrote, this is far more disturbing to watch knowing what this girl had to go through with him. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about Katie Rice's story. They continued chatting online and on the phone into her sophomore year of high school. John's messages made her feel special because that's the manipulation of it all. In an AOL conversation, he told her not to copy and send to her friends. He said, I want sick to squeeze you, and I'm crazy about you, Katie. Do I ever make you tingle? Ooh.
Yikes. I think I know where that would lead. Ay. Like, that's the sign of when he's basically hitting on you, knowing, like, that's a red flag. Like, yo, that's a big red flag. Don't fucking do that. This is a word of advice for any minors out there. Don't trust anybody you talk to online, especially in general, because you have no idea what kind of creeps will be in your home to do these things, and you know for damn sure if you're in a rocky spot where you're into this scenario, then you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, if you're not, then you got a lot of explaining to do. So, yeah, so just don't trust anybody, period. End of the discussion.
In an email she printed and saved from a few days after she turned 15, the 41-year-old John wrote, I'm thinking about you very hard right now, and I have a little tickle in my chest. This guy's 40 years old. He knows what he's doing. He's speaking to a 15-year-old girl, and you can't be like that direct with them or you're really going to scare them away. You've got to slowly, it's just so gross. It's just like, it's like a slow manipulation process.
Yeah, it is a slow manipulation, so I know where this is going, and it's not going to end good for him, knowing him.
That she went through. At the time, Katie, a 15-year-old girl, did not see the harm. I think this 40-year-old man is hitting on me, she wrote in her diary, saying that her friends also agreed with her. Katie also wrote, but he's never pervy. He's also very nice and gives me a lot of drawing tips. So she even tried to justify his kind of like creepy hitting on her behavior with him. Well, you know what? He's got the power. They ended up meeting a few times in LA, and they kept talking after she moved with her parents from California to Lake Tahoe in 1996. She was entering the 10th grade at age 14 when they had a conversation on the phone, and he told her to repeat after him. John's D slides in my P. He asked her at this young age to tell him that his D slides in her P. She refused to say that, actually. He was trying to get off on the phone, and she was like, I'm not going to say that. In that moment, she realized exactly what John was trying to do to her. That weird phone conversation really ruined their relationship because John pushed it too far for her. She did still trust him, and she was still friends with him, especially after moving away from her home in California to Lake Tahoe. He actually attended her 15th birthday party, which you guys heard him mention that in the tape earlier that he was there, but they abruptly stopped speaking in early 1997. And there's proof of him at her birthday party. Like, look how young she is. Why is he such a creep? I wonder if he gave her that as well, like that drawing.
That's what I actually personally wanted to know too. Like, did he make that for her or something, or is it just me? I don't know. Okay, Creation even confirmed, like, if you're still friends with a pedophile, then why are you still friends with them to begin with? Oh, good point, Creation. Good point. Wow. Knowing you, you're pretty pissed off. Okay, yeah. Remind me not to piss him off, then. Wow. But damn, dude, really? Oh, man. This got bad. Holy shit.
He must have. He must have given her that drawing.
He might have, yeah.
I wonder if she still has it. When Robin and Katie connected back in 2008, they started emailing each other. And at that point, Katie shared that John was doing all sorts of bizarre stuff, waiting naked in his living room for when I let myself into his house to work in the mornings, walking around with his wiener hanging out of his pants, telling me that his friend's advice to get me was to R-word me one day. This guy, like, what he did to her is just unreal. And he became her employer. Katie finally cut it off with John after 2 incidents went down pretty close together. The first one was this R-word threat during the Weird Al job. So John was actually hired to help produce the Weird Al music video, and this is where the R-word threat came. And then the second incident went down when she found CP, inappropriate content of children, on his computer. Images of girls she didn't recognize. She remembered seeing one photo of a girl who looked like she was 10 years old, and you could see everything. Oh my god, it's so disgusting.
That's exactly what most people would be doing on this fucking platform till this fucking day. And they still at large still doing it. Oh, what a coincidence. Doesn't that ring a bell, class? Doesn't that ring a certain bell who sometimes does that? Oh, I get it. I know who does those things. People on the fucking platform who are in their mid-30s, 40s, or maybe older. Not so funny what's about them now, huh? Well, there's that to it.
Another ex-girlfriend of John's also confirmed that she saw images of girls on his laptop as well. Girls that appeared to be between 17 and 14 on his personal computer around 2007. So this is a crime. This man has committed a crime.
He did.
Around here, we see
Yeah, he majorly made a big crime. Even for him. That's sad.
The reason why Robin and Katie did not speak out earlier on was because a lot of people supported this man and his show and just would have called them crazy, and they would have gotten a ton of backlash. Thankfully, they've had time to heal and grow and at least attempt to get justice against John. Nowadays, Robin teaches philosophy and an undergraduate writing class, and it looks like Katie still works in animation. Katie did try to seek out justice before. Katie has tried 3 times to report the inappropriate content of children that she saw on his computer before. She reported it twice to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and she also reported it to the police. Yet the statute of limitations for her allegations were up, so they couldn't get any warrant to see his computer, and they can't pursue anything, which is really like just disturbing. I don't know. I mean, I guess like laws are laws, but if you think about it, like he probably does still have content on some of his like devices. If he was into it back then, he's probably into it now. Robin also tried to seek out justice, but the police told her that these allegations, these crimes were too old to investigate. So she believes that he shouldn't be able to get away with this, but the law is protecting him. Even though these allegations weren't made public until later on, everybody knew about Robin and John's relationship. Many people in the industry knew about John K's younger girlfriend and that she was 15 years old, and people even mentioned it in pieces of work. It was just well known in the animation industry, which is gross that people just supported this behavior and never called him out for it. John has responded to these allegations, and oh boy, I have never seen so many excuses. His lawyer claims that the 1990s were a time of mental and emotional fragility for John. After losing Ren and Stimpy, he was struggling, which a lot of this happened before losing Ren and Stimpy, so it sounds like a bunch of BS. He claims he's never had this inappropriate content of children and that there's a lot that is wrong. He even uses ADHD to justify his behavior.
That's like using autism as an excuse, dipshit. Oh, so look at that class. He's pulling up the same sympathy card just like Connor Medditz. Oh, well look at that. I think we have a bit of a similarity here. What a great. Oh, well, I think he just became Connor Medditz 3.0. Well, or 2.0, whatever. I don't care. Well, ain't this a quaint class? Wow.
He released an apology to the women and his fans for his behavior, which he said was motivated by undiagnosed bipolar disorder and ADHD, as well as poor impulse control, which mental health is real, trust me, but it's not a real excuse. There's no doubt in my mind that John suffers from mental health issues, but at the same time, I think a lot of it happened after he was fired at Nick, which a lot of his poor behavior happened before that point. But it was right for Nickelodeon to cut him off because he was late on deadlines, the finances were a mess, the work life, like just the culture in general was toxic. People were complaining about him. He's also like like he's a perfect example of someone who just embodies toxic masculinity. Like he's all about the man and the naked women and all that. It's just like so old. Like Nickelodeon, everyone needs to move on. I hit my microphone right there. I don't know if you guys heard anything, but oopsie. ASMR channel. At the end of the day, there's a clear theme at Nickelodeon. We've got Dan Schneider, we've got John Kay, we've got Brian Peck, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about Disney. So email me everything you guys got. Anything you have you want me to talk about, feel free to email me. Let's go ahead and open this P.O. Box package item. It looks like it's from Pima Sherpa. Don't know what that is, but it says it's a carbon neutral package. Oh my gosh. I love these. These.
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward so we can get to the big topic. So I'm just gonna. I don't know if that's it, but I'll check. Hold on. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. I guess that's probably it for that one. Okay. So yeah. So I think that's it for that. There is another topic that we will get into that we're going to present in just a second. So give me just a second. I'm gonna probably get the in hand. So give me just a second. I'm gonna probably get the session on pause for a minute. So take care in a few minutes. So BRB, folks. BRB. Okay, folks, we are back. Alright, so we have the stream for us here, so here we go. So the next topic we're going to be covering is the Loud House group. For people that don't know about that Loud House group that I was informed by Anonymous, who will not be named, we gathered some information upon the Loud House group that we also found that was quite sickening. And oh boy, what we found tonight, it's gonna get pretty intense. But I'll just give you a little side note at the very end of our show. We have another topic that we're gonna cover as well. And yes, it will feature El Tigre, sadly enough, so oh boy, this ought to be good. So with that being said, let's get to this topic, and then we'll get to our opinions. So, viewer beware, viewer discretion's advised.
It is also one of the most... The Lighthouse is one of the most popular kids' cartoons of all time. It is also one of the most infamous. Over the past decade, we've seen a vast array of cartoons come out. Some good, some bad, some meh. But no matter the quality, there are some shows out there that I just choose not to watch. Not for any particular reason or preconceived notion or anything. I could hear that a new show is the best thing on God's green earth, but sometimes there's just a part of me that says, I don't really care. I'm sure we can all relate. Sometimes you're just not feeling it. Who knows, maybe someday you'll finally give it a shot and see what all the hype was about. Or you'll hate it, I don't know, I'm not you. But then there are times where you decide to purposefully avoid something like The Plague, either due to having it praised so much that you choose to not engage out of some deep-down desire to be a contrarian and not fit in with societal norms, man. Or you hear so much bad about it that you know interacting will open a hornet's nest that you just don't want to deal with. And for me personally, that show has always been The Lighthouse. First airing on Nickelodeon in 2016 and created by The Lighthouse marked a monumental moment in the channel's history, being the first time since, arguably, The Fairly OddParents, that a series could rival the likes of their moneymaker, SpongeBob. See, The Lighthouse came out at a very troubled time for the network. Nothing was sticking. The golden age of their live-action sitcoms was coming to an end, as well as their animated programming severely struggling to gain any footing. Either had shows that were massive critical failures becoming infamous in internet discussion like Sanjay and Craig or Breadwinners, or you had shows which did well critically, but failed to really build up an audience like Harvey Beaks. A large part of this was on Nickelodeon. Scratch that, this was all on Nickelodeon, seemingly brushing aside promising and refreshing new shows in favor of relying on that dude bro buddy comedy formula that had worked so well in the past. As long as not letting really any of their new series have a moment in the spotlight, a time to shine and build an audience of dedicated viewers. For a long time, including arguably right now, it often seems like Nickelodeon treated their non-SpongeBob programming as, well, filler in between SpongeBob. But one show broke through that pattern. One series managed to rise the ranks, and for a brief period, was able to surpass their spongy overlords. Of course, the show I'm referring to is The Fairly OddParents. However, by 2016, that show had long run its course, not knowing what to do with itself. And in that rut, a new show was allowed to burst through the gate and capture the attention of kids all around the world. And that was this little show called The Lighthouse. Starring the aptly titled Loud family, the show saw a middle kid Linking Loud trying to survive in a house full of nothing but sisters. 10 of them to be exact. They also had this charming Peanuts-esque gimmick where you'd never see the parents' face so they could truly hone in on the childlike nature of everything, being completely from the kids' perspective. Although they did eventually give up on that in the season 2 episode, 11 Louds a Leapin'. In a time when Nickelodeon was nothing more than the butt of all jokes regarding kids' networks, in the eyes of many being seen as the worst between it, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel, The Lighthouse was consistently touted as being its one saving grace, the one success that managed to slip through the cracks and stand apart, being seen as not only a critical success, but commercial too.
You know you could be vague.
And it gets straight to the ad. Okay, I apologize for that. But yeah, it just got more bad to where, oh dear, how bad can it get? Oh, I won't jinx that, so.
Everybody loved this show. Again, there was a period where it was considered the best series Nickelodeon had produced in like a decade. Nickelodeon was back. Me, though, I didn't care. The Lighthouse released right at the moment I considered myself to be too old for cartoons, so my main exposure to the franchise was seeing folks sing its praises in between modern SpongeBob rants and going, huh, good for them. And then moving on with my time, presumably to record Let's Plays in my garage.
I'm going to be doing a creeper head to start around, and it's no reason to do.
That rundown may seem strange for some who weren't around for its meteoric rise, however, as today, almost 10 years since its premiere, The Lighthouse is nothing more than Nickelodeon's biggest laughingstock. Similarly to The Fairly OddParents, many say the show has long run its course, being stretched thin with spin-offs and movies that don't even attempt to capture what many liked about the series to begin with. And that's just the stuff related to the show. Other areas are much, much worse. And so...
Okay, I've seen worse. Yep, I've done research. Okay.
Today, I wanted to take a look at the Lighthouse and its reputation, why it's so heated, how did we get here? At least compared to other cartoons that also are considered to have gone down in quality, there are people out there who are actively embarrassed to admit they ever liked this show. So all I can ask is, why is the Lighthouse so heated? Well, first, I guess we need to briefly cover why the show was so well liked in the first place. It couldn't seriously just be because there was nothing better to watch, right? I think what stuck out about the Lighthouse to a lot of folks out there was that it was something different to the norm, especially for Nick. You know, it wasn't a series about two idiot friends who love soda and farting where half the jokes are just characters screaming. It had a simple premise, which it used to its fullest. There's so many characters that a kid is bound to like at least one of them. It's got a fantastic comic book inspired art style paired with some really appealing rigged animation. And on top of all that, the show's core, Linking Loud, was a really endearing straight man. In an era where more serialized programming was becoming the norm, I'm sure it was refreshing to have a cartoon that just embraced being a cartoon. Again, the show I'd probably compare it to most would be The Fairly OddParents, which had an equally basic and contained premise. It knew exactly what it wanted to be. And if there's something we know about shows with contained premises like these, it's that they can be milked to death until the end of time with endless storytelling potential. Wait, I think there's 3 main reasons why the Lighthouse is so detested, especially today. 3 reasons for it going from a breath of fresh air that took us back to a simpler time, to a despised cartoon that most would rather see finally be taken out back and put out of its misery. So here's my 3 reasons why.
Really?
Is the Lighthouse so hated? Number 1. The show got bad. Like The Fairly OddParents, again, these shows are pretty similar. One of the main things folks know about the show, even if they haven't watched it, is that it eventually went into a seasonal rut, continuing to decrease in quality and lose its own identity, leaving those who liked it devastated, and those who hated it feeling validated. The Lighthouse is Nick's second longest running series, despite The Fairly OddParents, I'd argue, leaving a bigger cultural impact. But it's managed to truck along for 177 episodes, not counting movies, specials, or spin-offs. Now, any show that's ran for that long is bound to change over time. It's impossible to keep up the same level of quality without something starting to change. And while in some cases, TV shows can use this as an opportunity to go in a different, but just as good, sometimes better direction, American Dad comes to mind for no particular reason, with the show later embracing its craziness and stepping away from the more grounded political angle it started as. Whereas other shows completely fumble at this, and it results in them alienating their audience who no longer see what made them fall in love with it in the first place. The Lighthouse was in a bad spot to begin with, where its premise was rather limited. Despite having 11 main characters, Linking Loud was the core. The show was based around his everyday, and how he managed to live in a house with 10 other siblings. Just hearing that idea sounds like a nightmare. Having to deal with that many characters is a recipe for disaster with no focus. You know, if a kid likes one of them, then great. There's a 1 in 10 chance I'll actually get to see them do anything of substance each episode. But I think they were clever in treating the sisters more like a unit. When I picture them in my mind, I don't see them all individually, I just think of that crowd, them all piled together. And because of this, along with each of them having one clearly defined trait you could gather simply by looking at them, it allowed the show to involve all its cast without ever starting to feel bloated. It allowed them to still focus on one single character, sometimes Lincoln, sometimes a sister, but a large aspect of the story was how the family as a unit would react. You know, you can have episodes where one of them gets put in charge of the house, or Linking Loud trying to get each of them through their morning routine, us getting to see how each of them react when put in these situations. They all have such basic traits that it allows them to move through each of them at a breakneck speed so nobody's left out. Everybody gets their moment to shine. Obviously, not every episode adhered to this early on, and the later seasons aren't devoid of episodes that return to this formula, but at its most generic state, that is the appeal of the Lighthouse. And if there's something you can quickly grasp from that rundown, it's that you're gonna run out of things to do with that premise fast. There's only so many relatable family situations these characters can find themselves in before you start to be held back by how flat they are. There's not much investment. And so as the series went on, you'd see them naturally start to try and expand on this world. Now we see the parents, so they can be more heavily involved in the adventures too. There's more of a focus on their school lives, so we can introduce more of Linking's friends or one of his sister's groups. Everyone has their own world the more the show expands. And while that undoubtedly is good for giving them more stories to tell, it's hard to deny some of the appeal of the show is lost because of that. It's no longer the Lighthouse, and is now one of the Loud sisters dealing with her own issue. The show was such a hit that it didn't have to prove anything anymore. It can just be assumed that you've already grown accustomed to these characters and know what they're like. That's not to even mention that horrible movie that introduces dragons and ghosts and the Scottish. Gross. At that point, it's completely lost its initial vision. The show is not just about the family without needing to adhere to the gimmick it was based around. It had to happen, of course, to ensure its longevity, but at the same time, the question has to be asked of whether or not that benefits this series. The elephant in the room is obviously the show's creator, Chris Savino, who was fired very early into the show's run after sexual harassment allegations. And while that's obviously a good thing, I'm sure there's an argument to be made about the show's shift away from its core premise being a result of losing the person who presumably understood it the best. Maybe that's not the case, though. I mean, look at other shows that face similar circumstances like Clarence, whose creator was fired for the exact same thing. I'd argue that show only started to flourish the further it went. Why couldn't we have had 8 seasons of that show instead? What the...
Oh, and it just did that thing again. Okay, so... Well, I mean, at least we're getting some good information, at least, so... That's for starters. Wow. This is getting good, actually.
The fuck? 2. Oversaturation. This point is fairly self-explanatory. Not only does this show have 8 long seasons, by the way, when I said it had 177 episodes earlier, that was not counting individual 11-minute segments. If we go by that, then the show actually has 272 episodes.
Jeez.
Jesus. There's an argument to be made about that being too long for any TV show to run. How could any series remain good after that long? But don't you worry. It gets so much worse. In regular Nickelodeon fashion, they abide by the law. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And with the main series only continuing to wane in popularity, they've attempted to rejuvenate interest in a couple ways, like that aforementioned shitty movie where they didn't even bother drawing linking for the poster. Another movie, which recently released where he's a spy. Haven't seen that before. Then they decided they would make a fucking live-action series that runs concurrently to the main one? Why? This is quite possibly the worst show to do in live-action. These kids are going to age pretty quickly, and that's going to get real distracting.
Oh,
it's a good thing this is clearly going to crash and burn. They just released a new season less than a week ago? Then that spin-off got its own 2 movies, which posters look to be on the same level as Santa Paws. And finally, as if all that wasn't enough, there was also the other spin-off, in which we saw the classic Loudhouse character, Ronnie Ann, move in with their own large family, in which we get to see pretty much the same show again, just with a different set of characters. Who wanted this? This show wasn't the biggest success, but still managed to run for 3 seasons with over 100 episodes, so it's clear Nick had a lot of confidence in it. It even got its own movie that was released a month or 2 ago after being stuck in limbo for years. This much of one thing is just bad for any series, especially a concept as simple as the Loudhouse. It was a recipe for disaster anyone could have seen coming, and that's not to even mention the quality of these programs. Obviously, all this would have sour taste in the minds of people who already didn't like the direction in which the series was going. The show that was originally seen as the breath of fresh air, something other than SpongeBob.
Okay, Creation just said, the way that Lincoln in the Loud House live action went underwear was unexpected. Okay, that took him off. Okay, like that just made him laugh so hard. Okay. I hope I didn't break you, Creation. Sorry.
Had suddenly become its own SpongeBob, worse as a matter of fact. Being milked to death with no signs of stopping. But that's not the biggest factor as to why this show is so despised. Oh no. There's one aspect that prevails over all else, which remains to be the reason why many find this show so horrid. 3. The fan base.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
By far, the most infamous aspect of the Loudhouse today would have to be its fan base. Again, I would not blame someone for being embarrassed to openly admit they like this series. And it's for one simple reason. This is a show about a bunch of little girls that was created by a man who was fired from said show for sexually harassing women. You just can't move past that. This, of course, is only made worse by the way some fans choose to talk about the show and these characters. Really not helping yourself there. And let me just say, I feel genuinely bad for some Loudhouse fans. Not all. Not all. Again, some of those fuckers are asking for it. But if you simply like this show for no other reason than you just find it funny or it's comforting or you just grew up with it and still like to check in every now and then I am sorry you are continuously lumped in with these weirdos. But it's just one of those things that you're not going to be able to shake. Which in turn has made a large majority of the fan base incredibly defensive, continuously coming to the defense of their favorite kids show. Which therefore makes people laugh at them more. Now, of course, most folks making these jokes treat it as nothing more than that. Jokes. It's funny to point out how weird and creepy the marketing around this show is at times, but I do think it's a little unfair to lump all these fans in together. Again, if you like this show and are not a weird, creepy creep, then cool, I'm proud of you. But it's just the result of so much bad. Over the past decade, this series has just left such a sour taste in people's mouths. The circumstances with the creator, the more vocal, weird parts of the fan base, and the sheer fact that the show isn't even all that good anymore, have all resulted in the Loud House and its fans remaining as nothing more than another internet laughingstock. Ironically, the show that once put an end to those bombastic and Nickelodeon rants is now being pointed to highlight the network's current dark age. And for that, I'm truly sorry, Lighthouse fans. Not all of you, though. Some of you guys are weird.
Okay, so there's the end there. And I'm gonna point out a little bit of a opinion upon the Loud House group that I'm gonna, point out. So be in mind, I am someone who does not take any of these freaking I do not take any of these criticisms upon these things the way that I saw. Let's just say I was not expecting that. So, with that all in mind, I can basically just say, the Loud House will burn, and I just hope that it gets what it deserves, because clearly that community has already been loud enough. And I also just noticed Creation just ditched me. Hold on. Let me get him back real fast. Hold on. Be right back, class. Okay, we are back, class. Sorry about that. We had a bit of a air technician with Creation, so sorry about that. But no worries, he is here with us again. So now, we are coming to the big finale for tonight's show. The next topic we're going to be covering for Talkshow At Night for the Nickelodeon Group is now El Tigre. So, I know I did say that I was a big El Tigre fan, so as for people that didn't know, apparently we gathered some dark information upon El Tigre that we also found that was pretty heartbreaking for me, because I was truly a big El Tigre fan myself, when clearly I still was. But I don't think I am going to be after this is done, so it might take some more time for me to think about it, So we have some things about El Tigre that we're going to have to cover along the way, and I'll point out some information of what I found that was quite sad. So, yeah. So with that being said, we'll just get to the finale. Here we go.
Imagine what Da Vinci could have built.
Yeah, and at the very end, I think I'll probably make a little bit of a final opinion about this before we get into any further. Because, well, as for somebody who is also still, looks up to the character till this day of El Tigre, I still look up to the character, not the show itself. So just keep in mind. Because I still was a big El Tigre fan. Because for somebody that didn't know, yes, I do voice El Tigre, especially for that particular manner, but I'm still taking a long break from doing that because I got things elsewhere to do. So, yeah. But alright, but here we go.
SpongeBob betrayed us! I'm sorry I ever started this stupid fan club in the first place!
So this is Jorge R. Gutierrez. He's the legendary Emmy-winning animator and creator behind El Tigre, Maya and the Three, The Book of Life, and more. The man has been an outspoken critic of artificial intelligence in Hollywood. He's an incredibly important voice, one that a lot of people have followed for decades. But now a surprising betrayal has shaken the entire animation industry, fans and creators alike. Amazon just unveiled a new initiative to support projects built around generative AI production tools. We've got Cupcake and Friends from BuzzFeed Studios and Love Diana Music Hunters from I'll Be Hecked. Both of these look and sound awful, but it's the third cartoon that ruins everything. This AI cartoon is Punky Duck, which surrounds a lovable punk duck and his best friend Smiley Cat, who tear through a wildly exaggerated Los Angeles. It's created by Jorge Gutierrez, the legend who brought us gold and constantly shared the value of human creativity, has reversed course and is now embracing AI animation. Man, he's going against everything he stood for, spitting in the face of the art itself. It's a big experiment for me, and I will be as cautious as possible with AI. Artists driving tech, and not the other way around, is my goal. I've been developing things at most legacy studios for years, and Punky Duck, to my complete surprise, went to greenlight in 2 months from my first pitch. Cautiously optimistic of what we can accomplish with the support of Amazon MGM Studios. Taking a chance on an original feels like a miracle these days. The blowback was swift and intense. The guy's entire reputation was almost instantly destroyed in a matter of hours. Fans and creators in the industry have been sharing their frustrations. Someone even changed his wiki page to call him a sellout. The creative side of the internet is now firmly against Jorge, and in response to the criticism, he released a new statement. I understand a lot of you are happy for me, and a lot of you are really angry at me for experimenting with AI at Amazon. I'm going to leave the comments open so you can get it all out and hopefully feel better. Any death threats will be reported. Anyone threatening Sandra and my son Luca, I will report those too. Come at me all you want and need. Just leave my family alone.
Oh yeah, I remember reading this. Back when I used to have an old Twitter account, way back then, but not much currently because I kind of lost interest with Twitter because Twitter has some fucked up moments on there, so I ain't gonna get into any information about that because, again, it's not really much relevant, but yeah. But yeah, just hearing that, I think he needs more than an apology from that, so that's why I'm taking a long time from this guy. So, yeah. Which means he's gonna have a lot of explaining to do with other people, but again, it's gonna take a lot of my wounds to heal for me to forgive him. So, yeah. I don't think so.
While AI can be used to speed up technical processes or help with behind-the-scenes stuff, generative AI has zero place in animation. It's an insult to the art. It's a middle finger to the talented people who use their blood, sweat, and tears to make something special. Art comes from the soul, not a machine that just blindly recycles old content. Another problem here is that Jorge is a behemoth in the industry. He has genuine influence. With his name attached to AI slop, it's normalizing that this is okay. Which it's not. This is not okay. We should be supporting real art instead. Obviously, don't threaten the man or his family. But from this point on, I personally won't be supporting any of Jorge's works. This news is just a punch to the gut. But what do you think about an animation legend turning to generative AI? How will this affect the industry? Let's talk in the comments.
Yeah, so that's basically that for you, I guess. So that's it for you. So, okay, so I want to give myself my little one opinion here for this. Yeah, it just got very bad to the bone, where, yes, ever since when I first heard about this, particularly, for this sort of passion, yeah, it does hit me to the gut to where I have lost interest with all of Jorge's, content as well with this sort of passion, because after all the shit he just pulled with the whole AI, topic that he was bringing up with that film idea that he's now finally got rid of for good. It better stay that way, I swear the fuck. But yeah, no, he better learn his place more than, oh, I'm sorry, I wish not to do that anymore and blah blah blah. Like, no, I don't think that's gonna slide for me one bit. So yeah, good luck with that. Okay, so we're gonna get to the next topic for our next one here. So we'll get there in a second. I might need to pause the session real fast because I gotta take care of something. So I'll be back in a bit. So be a bit. Okay, class, we are back. I had to take care of some things, so sorry about that. Step screen. Alright, so next up, we have a next one that features with Jorge. So here is the next one. It's called Jorge Gutierrez is a critical sellout. So this is the next one we're gonna cover. So viewer beware, viewers discretion advised. Here we go. And if the ad doesn't pop up, that is, stop. Because sometimes I don't care about these ads. I don't care about them, really. So again, don't mind the ads, so scuff stream, folks. Sorry about that. Just sometimes these ads likes to ruin the fun, so yeesh. Way to ruin this sort of passion. Yep.
Thought 2026 couldn't get any more depressing.
Move this man!
Hey guys, it's the Pink King here, and today we kind of have to talk about this situation going on with the former highly respected animator slash creator Jorge Gutierrez. As for those of you who are unaware, this guy is someone who I have talked about before on the channel, and he is someone who has become a key figurehead in the animation industry, not only for his voice performances and movies like The Book of Life, but also his impact on Mexican and Hispanic culture. He has been a big inspiration for a lot of people from those regions, not only for getting into Hollywood, but by also expressing their cultures and beliefs beautifully on the big screen in front of millions and millions of people. He, by all accounts, was an icon who was championed by so many people, me included to a degree. However, all of that's changed with just one upcoming project of his. Not only is this project a betrayal of everything he used to stand for, but it's also a slap in the face of the people who supported him and made it possible for him to even have this position that he does now for a very long time. Essentially, to put it short, Jorge is a sellout. You see, the project I was referring to was one called Punky Duck, an animated project that is in partnership with Amazon MGM Studios, and now on the surface that may sound not so bad. You know, it's just another upcoming animated project. What's the big issue? Well, I'll tell you what the issue is. The entire business venture that this project is a part of is being done using AI. Yup. The guy who used to preach about the value of artist passion, creativity, and the guy who used to criticize Hollywood for selling out to AI has only gone and sold out to AI himself. And it's not only him, as Amazon MGM are currently in the process of making a bunch of projects using AI tools, one of which is an IP by BuzzFeed that the creator of said IP doesn't even approve of, essentially taking their own creation and processing it into cheap, sloppy-made programming. But while that's terrible for a whole lot of reasons, I think what makes it worse here is the fact that Jorge is in here as well. To put it into perspective for all of you who have no idea what this feels like, I guess the best way I can describe it is this feels like when LeBron left Cleveland for Miami Heat. Just a complete betrayal to all the people who supported him and helped to make him a star in the first place. That's the best way I could describe this situation, because that's what this is, a betrayal, because not only were you a very talented artist who stood for artists to get better opportunities and to express themselves more, but you also were a strong advocate against AI being integrated into creative media. You made it clear several times that you did not approve of it, and we all know why, because AI is harmful and should not be anywhere near creative industries. It's lazy, it's cheap, it's harmful to the planet, and it's constantly stealing art. It's a known fact since the beginning of AI that it cannot create. It can't make something new. That's why it's called generating and not creating.
Well, yeah, but knowing AI, it's always bad stuff anyway. Even some people from the Disgusting Adventure Team group still use that for their advantage. Not to mention, they still do. So, with this sort of passion, this is more of a similarity here. So isn't that such a quaint? So yeah, okay. I can see where this is going. Okay.
Because AI steals from other artworks, media, and all sorts of work without the original artist making a single dime off it. It steals their data and mashes it together in order to produce inorganic slop. And Jorge knows this. That's why he called it out multiple times. He knows the negative effects that AI has, and yet now you're actively using it when you're the one who benefits from it. If you just completely change your morals because you get paid, then chances are you probably had no real morals to begin with.
But now that I think about it a little more clearly...
It's a
Yep, that describes him too well. Okay.
Joke, honestly. It's such a joke of just how blatantly two-faced this decision is. And his reasoning behind it as well was just such a blatant lie, because apparently when he was asked about this partnership, this is what he had to say. It's a big experiment for me, and I will be cautious as possible with AI. Artists driving tech and not the other way around is my goal, even though AI literally just is art theft. I've been developing things at most legacy studios for years, and Punky Duck, to my complete surprise, went to greenlight in 2 months from my first pitch. Cautiously optimistic of what we can accomplish with the support of Amazon MGM Studios, taking a chance on an original feels like a miracle these days. Taking a chance on an original feels like a miracle these days? Oh really? That's what you gotta say? You see, no, you fool. This isn't them taking a chance on an original idea. Number one, AI is not original, as we established, it steals from stuff already. But also, this is Amazon using your trustworthy name as a shield in order to experiment with AI, you know, to make it a mainstay. That's how these things work. You're a Trojan horse, someone trustworthy who can ship in AI and make it normal. They couldn't give a shit about your project. They just wanted you because you had something money couldn't buy, and that was public respect. You are nothing more than a failsafe for them, an excuse even, for companies to point to and say, see guys, if Jorge likes it, then you should too. Like, it's just so obvious that's what they're doing, and if you can't see that, then you're either stupid or you're being deceptive. But I do have to give Jorge some credit, I guess, as he at least addressed this backlash quicker than I expected, as he says here that he understands how people are both happy and angry for him, which, you know, come on, be serious now. Nobody's happy about this. Just look at all the responses out there to this situation. Everyone has been negative here. I've not seen one single positive reply, quote tweet, or anything in regards to any of this. So already he's trying to soften the blow, if you will, trying to make it seem like it's a mixed response. Some people are happy, some people are sad, when in reality, it's just pure outrage from people. There is.
I basically would say I'm more skeptical with the guy now, actually. Since I still look up to this guy when he made El Tigre content, actually, since I'm still an El Tigre fan till this day, when clearly I still am a fan, but I'm taking a long break from that, actually. So, which means I still look up to the character, just not the fan base itself. So just keep in mind. Because when he decided to ruin this for his own platform, yeah, no. I think he needs a long time away from that. Even for me. So, yeah, no. Lots of people will probably still be pissed off with him. Even my people are still upset with him. So I can't really blame them. I really can't blame them there. Really.
Not one single happy bunny among the group. Now, he makes mention of people sending threats to him and his family, which, as scummy as he is been exposed here, I don't agree with doing that. Criticize the man all you want, don't go harassing his family over it.
Exactly, yeah, just don't go that route. Please don't. Any people we talk about or discuss, again, don't harass these people we call out. No, come on. That's a little too much.
But what I will say is that for a response, he never actually fucking responds. Yeah, he just says that he knows people are angry at him and to leave his family alone. He never once actually addresses why people are angry at him. And you know why he's not doing that? Because he knows damn well he has no legs to stand on here. What's the best way to handle a situation you can't control? You just ignore it. And that's exactly what he's doing here. He's trying to downplay the backlash and sweep it under the rug by saying, okay, just get it all out now, come on, it's no big deal. Because he has no argument here. He can't defend himself because he knows damn well what he's doing. He knows that this is an inherently scummy thing to do and goes against almost everything he used to stand for as an artist and a voice for other aspiring artists. This is such a pathetic response that it's not even funny enough to get angry over. It's just sad and pathetic.
Yeah, I would say it is sad and pathetic indeed. So you're not wrong, my dude. You're not wrong.
Because he knows damn well he's in the wrong here. He knows it. I know it. We all know it now.
Even I know it too. Same with Creation.
He's a sellout. he sold his principles for a bag by Amazon. A bag, mind you, that I'm sure was a lot. I can almost guarantee you he got a pretty chunk of change for it. But when you do something like that, it comes at a much higher price than just money. Because of doing so, you've now betrayed the fans who supported you. You told everyone, hey, I can be bought if you pay me the right price. And to do this, knowing that you were begging and supporting so many other people to fund your projects, like your Narco Vampire series not too long ago, that's just an even bigger slap in the face. You got people to believe in you, to support you, to pay you money to help fund your stuff. And at the first chance you get, you turn your back on them to use technology that actively harms them and plagiarizes their work. And now you can't even be bothered to give a proper explanation as to why you did it?
Talk about a knife to the back when you get backstabbed. Talk about that. Jeez. Wow, I guess I know how that feels, folks. Yeah. Yep, this is where it all comes to be, doesn't it? Not quaint.
How is that not insulting? You are a hypocrite who sold out to AI when the price was right. It's disgusting, quite frankly, and I hope that he never lives this down. I hope that any project he has coming up, like Narco Vampires, fails, because as much potential as that stuff has, I don't think people who betray their audiences by selling out to the very thing that's been hurting them and the industry you helped to build should be rewarded. It's honestly sad and disappointing that I even have to say all of that, but this is what you get when you decide to be a snake, especially to the people who believed in you. So many people trusted you, and that's the crazy part here. And that's probably why I'm getting so angry over this situation. It's because you are someone who actively knows the harm AI causes. You know it. You criticized it before, so why are you doing it now? There is no reason other than money. That's the only possible explanation. So at the end of the day, all I have to say is fucking Hollywood. But what do you guys think of this situation? I know I was quite harsh here, but this one really hurts, man. More than any other situation I've covered, mainly because of how inspiring and influential he was to me and so many other people. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What do you think of this situation? And that's really about it. So I will see you all next time.
Yeah, so other than that, that's that for you. Oh, I gotta say for this one too, actually. So, I know this was more of a big beatdown for him as well. I get it, like, his creativity was supposed to be good and stuff like that, especially with El Tigre, one of my favorite childhood memories, that is, who was supposed to be my #1 fucking favorite. He decided to throw it down the fucking drain. Like, what kind of sympathy would people do just because you want fucking money over fucking AI and shit? Like, are you really just that fucking popular because of that shit? Wow. Sometimes people like them just don't learn to say these things the hard way now, don't they? Honestly. Even now, thinking about it, I'm getting more pissed because they're throwing El Tigre underneath the bus. Seems like. But yeah, jeez. And I wonder why. What a quaint. So yeah, alright, so we're almost done. We have 2 more video topics we're gonna discuss. So the next one we got is the betrayal of the animation industry with El Tigre involved. So, okay, here goes nothing. Great. Which I know you're not really looking into this, Manny, so it's gonna be fine.
Oh, trust me, I'm already upset as it is, so don't mind me.
Alright, so, with that being said, here we go.
AI sucks and has no place in the animation industry.
But now that I think about it a little more clearly...
We got a new addition to the list of top 10 anime betrayals, and it's a doozy. Amazon Studios has revealed 3 cartoons that are greenlit through its Generative AI Creators Fund, which is an initiative aimed at giving creators access to professional-grade AI tools and funding for cinematic entertainment. Now, you may be wondering, who the hell would sign up for this? Putting your name on a generative AI project in the animation industry sounds like something that would end your career. at least socially. But unfortunately, it's getting bleak, as the creator of El Tigre, Jorge Gutierrez, is one of the creators benefiting from this fund, and after reading into it, it's just not a good look, especially because Jorge has been someone who has condemned the use of AI in animation for years. Everyone came out of the woodwork to dig up his anti-AI tweets. It's like a gold rush. So let's read this article so we have an exact understanding of what they're getting into. 3 animated series have received orders by Prime Video via the Generative AI Creators Fund, a new joint initiative of Amazon Web Services and Amazon MGM Studios. Of course, all these mega corporations love shoving AI down our throats, and infiltrating the animation industry has been a wet dream for them. The projects are Cupcake and Friends from BuzzFeed Studios, Love Diana Music Hunters from creator Albie Hetch. Love Diana Music Hunters. I wonder where that naming scheme came from. It all just feels so desperate. God. A former Nickelodeon executive who is now chief content creator at Pocket.watch. Former Nickelodeon executive getting into the AI bag. How does this not just like hurt your brain and crush your soul all at the same time? And Punky Duck from creator Jorge R. Gutierrez. All 3 series will stream on Prime Video down the line. The green lights for the fund were revealed Wednesday, the first day of the AI on the Lot conference in Los Angeles. The Creators Fund is designed to provide top-shelf AI tools and funding to creators from a range of styles and backgrounds. The tech backbone of the fund is Project Nara, which is described as Amazon's purpose-built AI production platform for cinematic storytelling. Yeah, no, AI slop and cinematics never gonna go hand in hand, buddy. Now, this already sounds bad, but then you hear what Jorge said at AI on the Lot, and any benefit of the doubt starts to go out the window. With probably one of the most bizarre analogies I've heard in a second, which is that animating with AI was like having sex and then they hand you the baby. Brother, what?
Yeah, no, like when I first heard that, yeah, no, what the hell was he thinking about that? Are you... What are you thinking, Jorge? What the fuck were you thinking, dude? Having sex and then they want to have a... Dude, that seems a little bit blood flag material. Right there. Why would you say that? Yikes. Not my cup of tea I would probably want to have. No thanks. I'm good. Too much, dude.
Now we know what he means. It's just a weird thing to say. The kind of statement that feels like it's meant to pander to tech bros who thinks adult animation is only raunchy shit. You get to do the fun part, and then you skip the excruciating labor. Pregnancies last 9 months. It takes about 9 months to a year to finish an episode of animation. I get what he's saying. It's just confusing given that, again, he's been against AI for so long, and he's basically saying, oh, well, you know, you don't have to worry about any of the hard work. Which feels like a typical AI bro talking point. Oh, I don't have time to learn to draw. Oh, animation's so time consuming. And it's like, yeah, dude, it takes a long time to hone any craft.
Well, yeah, because animation can be hard to take, but it takes a lot of skills, you know. Even people go to college for that, too. Or just sketch in general, or heck, sometimes people learn how to animate on PC or tablet or who knows what. I don't care. I'm one of those people who would like to learn those type of things. As a matter of fact, I wanted to. But when people just do like AI and stuff in general when it comes to these things, this is where it pisses me off, to where people like to be on their lazy ass and do these lazy things every single fucking day, 24/7. Thinking like, oh, animation's so hard, oh, we'd rather do this and that and this and that. Okay, and your point is? Like, I just ask yourself this. If you really think animation is hard, do you really see yourself into that position when you use AI in general? Like, ask yourself that, people. Ask yourself this. If animation is hard, then why do you think AI exists, and why people use that 24/7, especially on DeviantArt and YouTube in general? Oh, I get it, because people just want content out of fame. That's what people were using it for, especially with the Disgusting Adventure Team group. They still do the same thing, too. As a matter of fact, they still do. Which still sickens me, too. Yeah, so, again, it's their loss, but animation does take courage and skills. So, I'd rather just have you guys do research for a living and ask yourself that. So, keep that note in mind.
Whether that's art, whether that's music, whether that's a sport, there are no shortcuts. and actually putting in the time to make something usually yields in a better product. I also don't understand why we're equating women's bodies to the AI machine. That's pretty weird. Not to mention, generative AI is trained on other people's work, so I strongly feel like any director or showrunner implementing it in their work in any way is truly doing a disservice to their own vision. I feel like it makes it inauthentic. But if you're an animation fan, you're more than likely opposed to AI. You know it's bad news, and you know that it's a bubble that's already bursting. So why is bro doing this? Money!
Yeah, of course it's money. What? I almost wanted to say that just the way how it pointed out when it came to, well, he's all about money. Okay, you basically timed it right, as a matter of fact. Okay, that's actually funny, now thinking about it. Okay. So, good point on that. So, nice to point that out. Nice. Good point.
It's a bag, and depending on how old you are and how much you have to spend your own money, then it's no secret that the economy sucks right now. So combine that with working in the animation industry, where it feels like barely anyone has been able to have consistent work for the last few years, and those animation jobs are based in Los Angeles, you can see how the money starts to talk real funny. And when AI is involved, an unfathomable amount of money is usually poured into it, partially to entice creatives who know that getting involved with this won't be the greatest look for them. But Jorge actually reached out to Cartoon Brew to provide a statement, which is, it's a big experiment for me, and I will be as cautious as possible with AI. Artists driving tech and not the other way around is my goal. I've been developing things at most legacy studios for years, and Punky Duck, to my complete surprise, went to greenlight in 2 months for my first pitch. Cautiously optimistic of what we can accomplish with the support of Amazon MGM Studios. Taking a chance on an original feels like a miracle these days. I think the most telling thing here is that they were willing to pick this up after 2 months of development, which again, kind of makes this all loop back around to money and stability, because this obviously implies he's had projects in development at other studios for far longer than 2 months that probably didn't go anywhere and left him without a source of income. I'm glad he has the optimism that this could put power back in the hands of the artist, but it's just confusing on how he intends to do that and how he intends to create jobs when the tool that he's using is intended to replace artists in the first place. But man, this is a bummer. This is definitely one of those whole house math situations where fans and artists alike are pissed and really giving a piece of their mind. Like Dana Terrace, whose Blue Sky post I feel is worth sharing. Actually, creative breakthroughs happen when people don't have to drink brown water from data center waste. This is not cool or accessible. This is disingenuous and disappointing. Animation discourse and fan manufactured competitiveness between shows can be a bummer. They're strange effects of a social media and attention-driven economy. But at least it revolves around human-made art. Small blessings. The homie Matt Brawley chimed in, if you need to partner with AI to get a green light on your project, it ain't worth it. I know it's super frustrating out there right now, but nothing makes replacing your peers with automated garbo justified. Nothing. We gotta hold down the line on this one or we're fucked.
Clearly, they're not wrong. Seriously. How does using a green screen when it comes to these things work? Like, how does that work? Oh, I don't know. People use it for stupidity reasons, or maybe something for adult content reasons. Oh, I don't know. Probably all the above. Stupidity! Very stupidity, retarded-ass reasons. No offense, but seriously, it's dumb. Okay? I'm one of those people that don't appreciate that, so just keep that in mind.
Big names like this endorsing AI is a crack in the dam. A few more could bring down the wall, and we need to take it seriously, in my opinion. Jorge also broke his silence on Twitter with a tweet that, I don't think is really landing all that well. If only because it feels like he's downplaying emotions, whilst addressing the seemingly few bad faith actors, which, whether intentionally or not, dismisses the large majority of voices who are just expressing their concerns and rightful disappointment, making it seem as if this is all a big overreaction. I understand a lot of you are happy for me, and a lot of you are really angry at me for experimenting with AI at Amazon. I'm going to leave the comments open so you can get it all out and hopefully feel better. Any death threats will be reported. Anyone threatening Sandra and my son Luca, I will report those too. Come at me all you want and need, just leave my family alone. Now, it goes without saying, death threats aren't cool. Involving anyone in Jorge's family that isn't Jorge isn't cool. And we should be able to talk about this in a respectful manner. Now, I know respectful and internet discourse doesn't necessarily go hand in hand, especially because when moments like these happen, it's part of the course to express your disapproval with memes, using comedy to truck through the pain. And I'll be honest, all the major tweets I've seen have just been expressing disappointment. In addition to all of this, the creator of BuzzFeed's Good Advice Cupcake has condemned Amazon's AI project, declining to work on it because of AI's involvement. And BuzzFeed just gave us a pretty bullshit statement, which is, we would have loved for Lauren to be involved as one of the people who worked to bring Cuppy to life while employed full-time at BuzzFeed. We shared with her that human creativity would remain at the core of this project, with writing, storytelling, and animation being developed by humans, and AI used as a creation tool to help facilitate that. We explained that this was similar to Walt Disney embracing Xerox technology to make in-betweening easier. Xerox technology isn't trained on the work of other artists, and that our partners at Amazon share our ethos, with a commitment to ensuring human creativity remains at the center of everything they make. However, she made it clear that she was categorically opposed to the use of AI in all of its forms, and we respected that she did not want to be involved as a result. That is absolutely her right, but her personal opposition to AI cannot determine how BuzzFeed develops IP that it owns, or deny the many other talented creators involved in this project the opportunity to do their work. So pretty much they're saying, yeah, we get that AI is concerning. We know this creator who brought this character and series to life strongly opposes the mere existence of a new series if it involves AI. But legally we own it, so she can get fucked. Bleak! Anyways, none of these projects fit the kind of animated show that tends to take off on Amazon Prime Video anyways, so have fun making something no one will watch, and I'm so glad you got to sell out doing it. Screw AI, it's National Cheeseburger Day, I'm gonna go get some grub. Peace.
What we do here is go back.
I think that's it, if I'm right. Yeah, I think that's it, so, yeah, okay, so yeah, to finally put a final conclusion to that, yeah, it just got more hectic with him. And then, as soon as if I remember, if I last recall, I forgot to point this out earlier, but here we go again. I think as soon as when he made that post, I think he went dead silent, if I last recall, if I'm correct. So if anybody wants to vouch in and clarify that, they can. My comment section will be open as much as they want to, so make sure you send some polite comments down below, so that way I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think as soon as when he basically posted that, yeah, he just went dead silent as soon as that was done for him. So that, again, was like a hit to the gut, but again, it's going to take a long time for me to give me sympathy for him, since I'm now skeptical with him, still. But yeah, throwing El Tigre like that underneath the bus too, yeah, you just broke my number one character who I also voice as, currently. Speaking to El Tigre, you just threw me underneath the bus, dude. What was that for? What did I ever do to you? Yeah, jeez. I don't know. I just kinda broke my heart there, so nice going, dude. Thanks. But alright, so now the finale for tonight. Bullying Works, another El Tigre video that we have upon. So, here goes nothing. And then for like the very end, I think we're probably gonna finally cut this show a wrap as soon as we're done, because this is gonna be the last one for tonight. So let's just make this count. Because I know it's gonna be a lot to take in, but like I said, it's gonna be a lot to explain. So with that being said, here we go with the finale for tonight. So with that being said, enjoy the show.
Yesterday, I talked about how Jorge Gutierrez, the creator of El Tigre and the director of the Book of Life and Maya and the Three, had unfortunately sold out to generative AI after condemning it for years, having an AI-assisted animated series greenlit over at Amazon Studios. A move that I think he anticipated having a lot of backlash, but I don't think he foresaw how much backlash would be coming from the animation industry side of things. While fans were obviously upset, talent in the industry were unanimously pissed, and everyone was giving Jorge a piece of their mind. Rightfully so, because what the hell are we even doing here? You know AI sucks, you know it's terrible news for the animation industry, and you know that we know that this was ultimately a money-motivated move. And I get it, times are tough. A lot of people have brought up how he has X, Y, and Z in development, but as I said in my last video, when you're based in Los Angeles and you have a family, you're definitely going to need a consistent stream of income, and as far as I know, development deals can't be putting food on the table for that long out here. And he had this whole spiel about giving creativity back to the artist, pretty much making it seem like he could turn this negative into a positive, but it just was not clicking. I truly can't comprehend how a tool that's meant to replace artists is somehow going to loop back around into empowering them. So while I get why he would cave, the entire situation just feels like it highlights the predatory nature of these AI companies, which is that they know they don't have a good reputation, and they know that the economy sucks. They know that the entertainment industry all around has been struggling, so they offer you an absurd amount of money that you feel like you can't refuse, and try to coerce you into believing that you aren't abandoning your morals, and that using AI is not that big of a deal. Regardless, a lot of people felt betrayed. Del Toro was shitting the hell out of him, which tracks because not only was he a producer on The Book of Life, but this punky duck show Jorge was making, judging by this image, seems like it would have had a stop-motion-esque aesthetic, which obviously is stepping on Del Toro's toes. But long and the short of it, Jorge has seen the light, and he will no longer be making Punky Duck at Amazon Studios. Issuing a statement last night, learning a lot from many of you, lots of information that I'm digesting wholeheartedly. I am absolutely understanding the concern of using AI to assist in animation pipeline. For all those showing me grace, I really appreciate it. I have a lot to think about. And then this morning, just a couple of hours ago, he shared, I have decided to drop out of the AI program at Amazon. I will not be making a Punky Duck series. Actions speak louder than words. My intent was to showcase artists both new and seasoned, inside and outside the studios, driving this new tech. My sincerest apologies to those I upset. I promise to do better moving forward. Thank you for your patience with me. I will try harder. Obviously, a lot of people aren't going to be so quick to forgive, and that's your MO at the end of the day. But personally, I do believe it's a respectable move, even if none of this should have happened in the first place. When people are getting grilled on the internet, it's easy to double down and be vindictive. It's not easy being vulnerable online. So the fact he was able to own up to this and back out of the deal, which I'm sure wasn't easy, especially if contracts were signed, that's not something that I think should be met with continual hatred. Again, if you see him differently after this, that tracks. And while it's inevitable people will hammer in the fact that he should have known better, I do personally think that moving forward, harping on this and holding it against him in the future won't be productive whatsoever. Like the cartoon's not happening, he's hurt the people loud and clear, and now it seems like he's willing to do what he can to make things right. And again, I don't think any of this would have happened if times weren't so tough right now. Cartoon creators typically aren't swimming in dough. The main thing he's known for, El Tigre, was over 20 years ago. Most show creators from that era aren't eating good right now. They're in the same boat as everyone else. So I do want to see him bounce back from this. I do hope he's able to get a project off the ground, and I do hope he's able to provide work to people in animation without AI being involved whatsoever. I just really wanted to follow up on this real quick because if I left it at yesterday's video, it just wouldn't feel right. He apologized, the point has been made, but now let's lay off the guy. The thing we wanted to see happen happened, and any discourse from this point on would just be dragging it.
So yeah, there's the last of that, folks. There's the last of that for tonight. So that is the last for our special Talk Show at Night premiere of the Nickelodeon Community. The deed is done. So, what did we learn, class? We have learned that apparently the Nickelodeon Community has become a real kick to the mud. And this is the main reason why I also left the Nickelodeon group, and thank God I did. Because after all this, for what creation has informed me about, it has scarred me for major life. And this still means that, I really don't really hate the community itself. I just hate how everybody basically went through all this shit because of all of what I was told from first the El Tigre creator being using for AI and stuff and throwing El Tigre underneath the bus for that particular manner, which, again, it shatters my heart because I'm still voicing the character for collaboration purposes on a different project elsewhere that I'm still taking a long recovery from. But speaking to El Tigre, don't worry, I'll still have my comebacks one way or another, so don't worry. I'll still be around. Just not for long, though, so I'm still on vacation. So, yeah. But I appreciate, you guys letting me know about it, so hey, if you have any comments for me to answer for you, I'll be glad to answer them, but as long as it's not inappropriate, so be sure to keep it PG rated if you can. Please? So yeah, So anyway, that's going to be the wrap for our Talk Show at Night premiere, folks. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and this has been quite a show. We will do a part 2 premiere of the Nickelodeon group along the way with a different matter with the Loud House and so on, because since we've covered half of it, but not most of it, but we will get some more information upon the Nickelodeon group, especially when we have enough time, when needed, as we said. And before we wrap up, if you guys ever have any witnesses or information upon any individuals that we've covered on Talk Show at Night that you wish to bring your attention to, our Discord link will be in the description down below in the channel description as needed. If you wish to come in for any evidence upon these individuals that we covered, so feel free to join our server link if you wish, if you want to. Again, you don't have to, it's only official. So, with that being said, I'm also going to state one more thing. I am so thankful that I left the Nickelodeon group, because after witnessing what I saw from this Talk Show at Night premiere, for what I've gathered from with Creation, so sorry Creation, I'm so sorry, a little cranky today, sorry, but after witnessing what he has gathered, yes, I am very scarred and very struck, rock bottom sad after this has destroyed me. So that, too, I am so thankful that I'm not a part of it. No more. But keep in mind, there are some characters from the Nickelodeon group that I still look up to, like Danny Phantom, El Tigre, Danny Phantom, Jenny Wakeman, Jimmy Neutron, and so on. I support just the characters only in general because I look up to them as like a big happy group. So just do keep in mind, I don't hate the community itself. It's just the fan base and everything else in general is what I really have trust issues with, thanks to Creation's little word of advice. So, even Creation said, don't trust these people on these communities whatsoever because all they are to you is a worth of energy and a waste of everybody's time with their own opportunities. So don't trust a word they say. Deeply noted, Creation. Thank you for that. But alright, we're going to wrap the show up here, so thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Talk Show at Night. I am Catalina, your co-host, and Creation, aka Lucario, says, and you guys have a fair night, and stay safe for all of those informations that have come to your minds. Just don't be like these people because one day, I know for sure it will hit you in the gut to where it hurts. So, okay. So with that being said, Creation signs off here. He says farewell class and hope to see you next time. So I have been Catalina, your co-host. So thank you so much for tuning in at Talk Show at Night. So thanks for tuning in. This has been Talk Show at Night. We will see you guys on the next Talk Show premiere. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next showcase of our Nickelodeon Community documentary part 2. Stay tuned, class, and stay safe. With that being said, you guys have a farewell and have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night and stay safe. Bye-bye. Adios for now.